just recorded a 20-minute video, and it didn't save. I don't know what happened. This never happened before. But wow, I'm so sad. Anyways, I'm gonna make another. I'm gonna read a little bit more because I wanted to make a video, and I just lost an entire video. But I'm gonna remake one just for you guys. Anyways, this is a special video. It's our 10th video on the channel, and that's, a big number because that's how many fingers we have. And it's the basis for our counting system, and it is also the first time that we have a physical book on the channel. I'm doing everything for the second time. Sorry. Anyways, I really like the noises that books make, whether that's like moving them, tapping them, flipping pages. Unfortunately, I don't think this mic picks up on like any of that. Eventually, once my channel is hugely successful, I'll get a nice mic. But don't expect it anytime soon. Anyways, this is Nicomachean, Ethics by Aristotle. We're reading book 1. Last video, which no one will ever see, I read from in chapter 1, I6 to I6 and I7. So in this video, I'll be reading, let's say I8 and I9. I don't know what the I stands for, but this is basically about the good and what defines the good. And so far, he's just kind of said happiness, but it's different for everything. So it's been very vague. Let me get my music going. Or listen to Lucy Cooper Be Handy. I don't know how I feel about this one. I'll be alright. Anyways, I8. We must investigate it, however, not only in accord with the conclusions and premises of our argument, but also in accord with the things we say about it. Okay, this is not. We're going to a different album. Not only in accord with the conclusions and premises of our argument, but also in accord with the things we say about it. For all the data are in tune with a true view, whereas they soon clash with a false one. Goods, then, have been divided into 3 sorts, with some said to be external, some relating to the soul, and some to the body. The goods relating to the soul are most fully such, and we say are goods to the highest degree, and we take the actions and activities of the soul to be goods relating to the soul. So what we have said is correct, according to this view at least, which is long-standing and agreed to by philosophers. It is correct even in saying that actions and activities of some sort are the end, since the way the end turns out to be one of the goods relating to the soul, and not one of the external ones. The saying that someone who is happy both lives well and does well was in tune with our argument too, since the happiness has been pretty much defined as a sort of living well and doing well. Again, all the things that I look for where happiness is concerned apparently hold of what we have said it is. For to some it seems to be virtue, to others practical wisdom, and to others some sort of theoretical wisdom, while to others it seems to be these or one of these involving pleasure, or not without pleasure. Other people include external prosperity as well. Some of these views are held by many and are long-standing, while others are held by a few reputable men. And it is not reasonable to suppose that either group is entirely wrong, but rather that they are right on one point at least, or even on most of them. Now, with those that say that happiness is a virtue, or some sort of virtue, our argument is in tune, since activity in accord with virtue is characteristic of that virtue. But it makes no small difference, presumably, whether we suppose that the best good to consist in virtue's possession or in its use, that is, in the state or in the activity. For it is possible for someone to possess the state while accomplishing nothing good. For example, if he is sleeping or out of action in some other way. But the same will not hold of the activity, since he will necessarily be doing an action and doing it well. Just as in the Olympic Games, it is not the noblest and strongest who gets the victory crown, but the competitors, since it is among these that the ones who win are found. So also, among the noble and good aspects of life, it is those who act correctly who win the prizes. Further, their life is intrinsically pleasant, for being pleased is among the things that belong to the soul, and to each person that what is pleasant is that thing by reference to which he said to be a lover of such things, as, for example, a horse in the case of a lover of horses, and a play in that of a lover of plays. In the same way, just as things are pleasant to a lover of justice, and things in accord with virtue as a whole are pleasant to a lover of virtue. The things that are pleasant to ordinary people, however, are in conflict because they are not naturally pleasant, whereas the things pleasant to lovers of what is noble are naturally pleasant. And actions in accord with virtue are like this, so that they are pleasant both to such people and intrinsically. Their life has no need of pleasure that is superadded to it, like some sort of appendage, but it has pleasure within itself. For besides what we have already said, the person who does not enjoy noble actions is not good. For no one would call a person who just did not enjoy it. So for no one would call a person just who did not enjoy doing just actions, or generous if he did not enjoy doing generous ones, and similarly as regards to the others. If that is so, however, actions in accord with virtues will be intrinsically pleasant. But they are also good, of course, and noble as well. Further, they are each of these things in the highest degree, if indeed an excellent person discerns them correctly, and he does discern them that way. Hence, happiness is what is best, noblest, and most pleasant. And these qualities are not distinguished in the way that Delinean inscription says. Sorry, my nose is really itchy right now. I don't know why I'm apologizing. I hope you don't mind that I'm itching my nose. The Delinean inscription says, "The noblest thing is the most just, the best, to be healthy. The most pleasant, however, is to get the thing we desire. For the best activity possesses them all." So that was wrong, because the best activity is both noblest and most pleasant. And it is these, or the ones among them, that is best, that we say is happiness. All the same, it apparently needs external goods to be added, as we said, since it is possible or not easy to do noble actions without supplies. For just as we perform many actions by means of instruments, we perform many by means of friends, wealth, and political power. Then again, there is so much deprivation disfigures blessedness, such as good breeding, good children, and noble looks. For we scarcely have the stamp of happiness if we are extremely ugly in appearance, ill-bred, living a solitary life, or childless, and have it even less, presumably, if our children or friends are totally bad, or were good but have died. Just as we said then, happiness does seem to need this sort of prosperity to be added. This is what leads some to identify good luck with happiness, and others to identify virtues with happiness. All these ancient Greek philosophers were really strong believers in eugenics, apparently. Plato was all about the breeding, and now Aristotle. You gotta have good breeding to be happy, and to be wise. So, sorry to all you out there who aren't purebred nobles. That's probably most everyone. I don't think I'm a noble, unless I have some long-lost noble blood. Whatever that means. I9. It is also what leads people to puzzle about whether happiness is something acquirable by learning, or by habituation, or by some other sort of training, whether it comes about in accord with some divine dispensation, or even by luck. Well, if anything is a gift from the gods to human beings, it is reasonable to suppose that happiness is also God-given, especially since it is the best of human goods. Perhaps this topic properly belongs more to a different investigation. Yet even if happiness is not a godsend, but comes about through virtue and some sort of learning or training, it is evidently one of the most divine things, since virtue's prize and end is evidently something divine and blessed. At the same time, it would also be something widely shared, since it is possible for it to be acquired through some virtue of learning or supervision by all those not disabled in relation to virtue. If it is better to acquire it in that way than to be happy by luck, however, it is reasonable to suppose that this is how we do acquire it, if indeed what is in accord with nature is by nature in the noblest possible condition. Similarly, with what is in accord with craft, or with any cause whatsoever, above all, what is in accord with the best one. To entrust what is greatest and noblest to luck would strike a very false note. The answer we are looking for is also entirely evident from our argument, for we have said that happiness is a certain sort of activity of the soul in accord with virtue, while of the remaining goods, some are necessary conditions of it, others are by nature co-workers and useful as instruments. This would also agree with what we said at the start, for we took the ends of politics to be the best end, and its supervision aims above all at producing citizens of a certain sort, that is, good people and doers of noble actions. It makes perfect sense, then, that we do not say that an ox, a horse, or any other animal whatsoever is happy, since none of them can share in this sort of activity. This is the explanation of why a child is not happy either, since he is not yet a doer of such actions because of his age. Children are said to be blessed, are being called blessed because of their prospects, since for happiness there must be, as we have said, both complete virtue and a complete life. For many reversals of fortune and all sorts of lucky accidents occur in life, and those prosperous may meet with the great disasters in old age, just as is said of Priam in the story of the events of Troy. And no one counts someone happy who has suffered strokes of luck like that and dies in a wretched way. Okay, my voice is shot, and it's late, and I had to watch the lecture and go to bed, so I'm gonna end it there. Apologies. I had a 20-minute video all recorded and ready to go, and it just didn't work. So I'm just doing this one, 12 minutes about. I don't know how long to make ASMR videos. I usually am asleep by this point in a good ASMR video if I'm tired. But it's nice for them to be longer, just in case. Usually I do make them longer, but again, I have to wake up early, so I'm ending. Thanks for watching, though. I hope you're asleep. Have a great day.